Hey there, everyone. It has been a little bit since we've done a stream like this, and it's also kind of late because I couldn't decide if I wanted to stream and what I wanted to stream, and then I remembered that I own Ace Attorney but Birds. So we're playing Ace Attorney but Birds because this is a thing that exists. If the taskbar ever shows up on the bottom, I apologize. OBS doesn't want to capture this game with the normal game capture, so it has to use window capture. So that's a thing. Anyway, we're going to start a new game. And we're going to see. So it appears as though a frog is dead. I guess I should probably, do voices, because that's the thing that one would do for this kind of game. So, oops on missing that first one, but well, well, well. Look who finally decided to get up. Haven't you heard what they say about the early bird, Falcon? Ugh, too early for worms. Pass the Cabernet Sauvignon. I don't have any idea if that's how one would pronounce that word, but there we go. There will be time for that later. We've got some business to handle first. Business? A letter arrived while you were sleeping. I haven't opened it yet. It's probably just more junk mail. Go ahead, Sparrowson. You may have the honors. All right. Dear Monsieur Falcon, I am writing to you today because my daughter, Dame Caroline, has been arrested for a crime she did not commit. She is being held at La Conciergerie that prison on the charge of murder, no less. Her trial is in 3 days' time. I would be greatly in your debt if you would offer her your legal aid. Yours sincerely, Senor Pertor de Meow of the de Meow estate. Well, this is quite something. I know, your first serious client in months. Not just that, the de Meow estate is well known for its exuberant wealth. Even if we cannot do much for Dame Caterline, his lordship would still reward us handsomely for our efforts. Wow. So I suppose you intend on defending Dame Caterline in court? If I say no, does the game just end? Okay, it doesn't look like I can save without quitting, so maybe I shouldn't say no. Of course, it would be foolish to let such a good opportunity slip through our feathers. Grab your coat, Sparrowson. We're going to find our kitty client at La Conciergerie. If you expect me to know how to pronounce words that are French, I apologize. Also, I'm gonna adjust something real quick, so I'm gonna hide the window for a moment. Let's see. gonna say... There we go. Alright. If things were looking a little bit orange before, they shouldn't anymore. Excellent. My derriere was getting tired from all this sitting around. Oh, but I better file away Signor de Miau's letter first. One moment, Falcon. We have an evidence folder. It currently contains a letter. We may access the evidence folder by clicking the suitcase. Ah, nearly forgot my wallet. I wouldn't want to lose that. Again. I recall you losing it at the New Year's party. And at Christmas? Yes, all right. No need to make a list. We now have a wallet. We have 20 francs. Let's make a move. Welcome to the map screen. Okay, we can travel to any listed area, which by the looks of it, there are 2. Some of them will take time to visit. That's good to know. Okay. So the concierge will take us the whole day if we go. But that's where we're going. So here we go. They step into the stone-cold foyer of that is the prison. Sullen-faced guards and visitors. Medieval archways. Ah, the concierge. They say this is the finest prison in the whole of France. The outer walls are impenetrable, the cells are spotless, the guards are well-mannered. What do you want? Good day, monsieur. I am here to see Dame Caroline de Miau. I am due to represent her in court. Oh, you're her lawyer, huh? Fine, fine. Follow me. Well, what are you waiting for? Keep up. My papa hasn't forgotten about me, has he? Dame Caroline de Miau, I presume. You've arrived! The fantastic lawyer, Monsieur Falcon, and his petite assistant, Sparrowson. Milady is knowledgeable. Don't talk like that, Sparrowson. Sorry. My papa told me that he would only hire the best lawyers in town. I'm flattered. But they weren't available at such short notice, so he hired the first people in the address directory. Oh. You see, Falcon, I told you listing under Aviary Attorney would pay off. Let's get down to business. To defeat the Huns. Dame Caroline, could you fill us in on some details? Your father's letter was a little brief. I can do my best. What is it you wanted to know? I'm gonna start with what happened. What exactly happened on the night of the murder? Oh, let me think. It was Friday evening. Me and my papa had arrived at Chateau Crenier, the home of great Baron Rogwell. That. He has a name, I don't know how to pronounce it. How do I French? My papa spent all evening talking with Monsieur Greenway and the Baron about business stuff. Business stuff? Well, the 3 of them own a railway company together. So all through dinner they were talking about company shares and investments, but I didn't really understand most of it. But after dinner, this man with a camera took our photograph. That was a lot more fun. Sorry, a man with a what took your what? Camera. It's a very new gadget. tiny bug sits in a box with a tiny paintbrush and paints your picture very fast. In 10 minutes, poof, you have a perfect picture. Wow, technology is amazing. I don't think the lady's explanation is right, Sparrowson. Let me believe. Still, the camera sounds like a very special device. I'll make a note of it. We now have a camera in our evidence folder. We also know the name of the photographer now. Because we asked about that, it was just not shown on screen. Please continue, Dame Catterlane. So after we had the photograph, I went into the gardens to get some air, and that's when I found the body of Monsieur Greenway. He was all ripped open. A housemaid saw me standing over the froggy Monsieur and called for help, and then the police arrived. Before I could say anything, I ended up here. It was such a blur. It must have been terrifying. It wasn't so bad. My papa taught me how to be a brave cat. Was there something else you wanted to ask, Monsieur Falcon? Let's go with who's there next. We'll just go down the list. Dame Catterlane, who attended the banquet that evening? Well, there was me and my papa. My dearest mamma couldn't make it. And then there was Baron Rorgwale, who hosted the dinner, and his housemaid. Colleen, I think she was called. Of course, there was Monsieur Greenway. Well, until, he died. And there was Monsieur Robito de Rubino, the man with the camera, but he was only there for a little while. I think that was all. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? Dame Catterlane, did you see anything suspicious that evening? Suspicious? Like, maybe a guy lurking in the shadows, or a bloodied murder weapon? Oh wait, that was Falcon. Oops. Monsieur Falcon, I do believe you're looking for an easy answer. You got me. I did not see anything, I'm afraid. The evening was very normal. The food was delicious, the conversation was boring. It was all very ordinary until the incident. I see. Wait, Falcon, you missed something of huge importance. I did? Dame Catterlane, you said the food was delicious. But you didn't say what food it was. You and your stomach. Let me see. We had poached red herring to start, garnished with garlic butter. Go on. Then a marbled steak, served perfect bloody rare. Glorious. Falcon, write this down. What? This can't possibly be relevant to the case. Write it all down, please. For me. Fine, fine. Good. We now have a red herring. This is a red herring. I really hope this is actually important somehow. Oh, and also the steak. That too. Sparrowson, remind me not to let you talk to clients on an empty stomach. Come to think of it, I did find it a little strange that we weren't given any cutlery. No cutlery? Even for the steak? No, you would think the great Baron of Chateau Creniere would have gorgeous silverware, but there was none to be seen. That is a little peculiar. Was there anything else you wanted to know, Monsieur Falcon? No, I think that will be all. So what's the plan now, Falcon? The way I see it, we have two tasks. We should head to Chateau Creniere and try to see the scene of the murder for ourselves. And we should try to track down the supposed photographer, Monsieur Robito de Rubino. 2 days for 2 tasks? Seems doable. But we should head back and get some rest first. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Wait, Monsieur Falcon, before you go. You do believe my story, don't you? I believe in justice. Dame Catterlane, I believe that a fair trial can draw the truth from any situation. I believe in justice. That's good to hear? You're not wrong, Falcon, but that's not what the lady needed to hear. You might want to work on being less of a... how to put it... I don't know what that phrase means. If serving justice makes me that, then I'll wear that title proudly. Dame Catterlane, Monsieur Greenway, Baron Rockwheel... These names are all getting a bit confusing, aren't they? Not particularly. Well, it is for me. I'm going to start compiling a Facebook so that I can keep track of who everyone is. A what? A Facebook. It's a collection of people's names, pictures, and descriptions in one easy-to-carry catalog. I think I understand. The name could use a little work, though. Well, we now have a Facebook. Thanks, Sparrowson. There are so many pictures. Are they all going to be relevant to this case? Let's make a move. The game autosaves. We can also quick save. Okay. So I guess we've got a choice of what we want to do first. We could either go check out the scene, or we could check out the scene, or we could go find the photographer. I think I want to see the scene first. We are now in the courtyard. That is a little bit sad and slightly disconcerting. Excuse-moi, messieurs. I don't mean to be a pain, but my little girl and I are sick and starving, see? I don't suppose you'd happen to have some spare change? I don't have any measure of what a franc is worth. We'll give one. Here you go. Stay safe, madame. Many thanks to you, messieurs. That was pretty generous of you, Falcon. Times are tough. Making sure a mother and child have something to eat is the least I can do. But what am I doing, standing here moralizing? Come on, Sparrowson. We've got business to attend to. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us later. Either not giving enough or giving too much. Whoa, look at this place. Baron Rogwile must be loaded. More than loaded. When it comes to lucrative investments, the Baron is a legend. Factories, chocolate shops, hotels, railroads. The Baron owns a little bit of everything this side of the Seine. Sane? Sane? I'm going with sane. Is he here right now? Yes. He's the smug-looking chap with the impressive mane. For we must approach a man of his stature with tact and finesse. Hey, Baron! We'd like a word. How's that? Sparrowson, you have the finesse of an inebriated warthog. You can thank me later. I think I got his attention. Did I hear my name? Great Baron Rogwile, property owner extraordinaire, at your service. And who might you fellows be? More investigators? No. Not quite. I'm Private Attorney J.J. Falcon, and this is my associate, Sparrowson. Lawyers, eh? You know you aren't the first to have passed through here today. Oh? Yes, yes. This jumpy, twitchy fellow came by this morning. Asked a bunch of questions, then hopped away before he heard the answers. Most curious. Do you know who he was, Sparrowson? Perhaps. I have a hunch we'll be seeing him at the trial. A friend of yours? Something like that. So what may I do for you, messieurs? We're doing some research on Monsieur Greenway, the frog who was killed here on Friday evening. Of course, of course. Such a tragedy. He was a good friend and loyal business partner. I suppose you messieurs will be wanting to see the crime scene for yourself? Actually, yes. That would be fantastic. Well, be my guest. You will find the garden where the murder occurred through the back doors. You may also be interested in the lounge on the second floor, third door to the right. That would be where we gathered for a group photograph prior to the... unfortunate incident. Oh, can we see the finished photograph? I am afraid not. It is to my understanding that a photograph must be developed before it can be viewed. It is a slow process. My own copy of the photograph is to be delivered in 3 days' time. That's no good to us. The trial may be over by then. Nonetheless, we appreciate your hospitality. Thank you, Baron. It's no trouble at all. I'll be here to see you out when you are done with your investigations. So where shall we go first? We'll go to the garden first. Dame Catterlane said that she found Monsieur Greenway on the stairs by the fountain, so this must be the very spot where the murder took place. Hey Falcon, do the crime scene investigation thing. The crime scene investigation thing? Yeah, you know, that thing where you get all eagle-eyed and analyze every object in excruciating detail. You mean search for evidence? Yeah, do that. That's not a bad suggestion. It wouldn't be the first time the Parisian police have missed something right under their noses. It's investigation time. Okay, so it draws little boxy things around the ones that we can investigate. We'll just start down here. Another beautifully made horse statue. You know, my uncle once had a horse that refused to eat hay. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yep. Eventually we realized that it was just filling up on hors d'oeuvres. Ugh. Terrible. Well, if investigating things is going to give us terrible puns, by all means. Let's look at this one. A finely crafted horse statue. The mane almost looks lifelike. Would you say it behooves you to stroke it? No. No, I would not. That's probably the important part. So we're gonna ignore it for now and stare at this lovely fountain. This fountain is finely crafted. It's solid carved marble. That can't have been cheap. I see nothing but water in the bottom of the lower basin. It's a shame we can't see inside the upper basin from here. That would be a perfect place to quickly stash a murder weapon. That's actually not a terrible line of reasoning. We ought to wade in to take a closer look, just to be sure. Yeah, I suppose we should. Oh, I apologize. I wasn't being direct enough. What I meant to say was, Sparrowson, go wade into the fountain and take a closer look inside the upper basin. Me? No way! If you want to go wading, do it yourself. I'm a respectable lawyer. You can't expect me to roll up my trousers and paddle around like paddle around a fountain like a duck in a lake. Yeah, well, you don't pay me enough to justify getting my sweet threads wet. Look, there's only one reasonable way to settle this. We'll flip for it. Flip for it? Yep. I'll flip this 1 franc coin. You call the outcome. Get it wrong, and you go for a swim. So what'll it be? Heads or tail? Heads or tails? Napoleon face or plant squiggles? We'll go with tails. Plant squiggles? It's called a wreath, Sparrowson. Sure, I'll bet on the plant squiggles. Here I go. It's heads. Should have gone with the old Emperor Falcon. I have a feeling that it would have been whatever we didn't pick. Ugh, fine. Hold my shoes. Falcon really should learn how to spot a rigged coin flip. I almost feel bad for cheating. Almost. Ah, you're back. Had a good swim? No, I'm a bird, not a fish. But I did find a mystery item in the upper basin. It's no murder weapon, though. What is this? It's brown and sticky, and it smells weird. Don't tell me that you picked up a very wet cigar butt, possibly belonging to Baron Rogweil? Correct. But that shouldn't be too surprising. It is his house, after all. I'll stash it in the evidence folder, just in case. Well, is there anything else that we need to do here? Absolutely, there are more horse statues. Baron Rogweil certainly likes his horse statues. I don't mind the horse statues, but the little cherub people creep me out. Babies should be waddling, not attempting saddleless horseback riding. A horse statue. This one has a goofy face. That reminds me of a joke. The horse walks into a bar, and the barkeep says, "Why the long face?" Yes, yes, we've all heard that one. What? No. The barkeep says, "You've got to stop coming here. You're drinking us under the stable." I think it's time to rein in the horse jokes. Yep, this was a good choice. Dried blood on the staircase. This must be where Monsieur Greenway died. Do you see any bloody footprints? Ooh, or maybe a name scrawled in blood, written with the frog's last breath? Wishful thinking. All I'm seeing here is a big, sticky puddle. There's nothing to indicate that the body was moved or that the frog left a last-minute clue. All I can make out from the bloody mess is that Monsieur Greenway was attacked and killed on the staircase. It looks like we've investigated everything we could investigate. I think we're done here. Good call, but are you sure you don't want to take another dip? We still have time. Don't push your luck. Alright, on to the lounge. Oh my. Second floor, third door on the right. This must be the room where the photograph was taken. Psst. Hey Falcon, do you see that? See what? That housemaid totally just did something shifty. Shifty? I think she just pocketed something from that drawer. You should totally call her out on it. Excuse me, mademoiselle. Ah. Yes? Are you two policemen? No. We're private attorneys. My name's J.J. Falcon. And I'm Sparrowson. Oh, how rude of me. My name is Colleen Duhat. So, what can I help you messieurs with today? We're investigating the murder that took place last week. Do you mind if we ask you a couple of questions? That's fine. Let me just grab a chair. That's better. What was it you wanted to ask? We'll start with the photograph. We're looking for the room where the photograph was taken prior to the incident. Would you happen to know whether this is the right room? Oh yes, you're in the right place. I saw the photography session for myself. let's see. The cameraman was standing just about where you're standing, actually, Monsieur Falcon. And where was the camera pointed? Right at the clock above the mantelpiece. The Baron insisted on using that very location. Now that I'm looking at it, something isn't right about that clock. I know, the painting on it totally clashes with the decor. I was thinking along more obvious lines. The clock has no hands. Oh, that clock has never had hands in all the years I've worked here. I think Baron Wargwile just keeps it around as a conversation piece. Well, we're conversing about it, so I guess it's working. It's a peculiar detail, though. I'll make a note of it. Is there something else you wanted to ask? Good grief. You were a little nervous when we came in. You thought we were police officers. Is there something we ought to know? Anything you need to confess? No. I suppose I'm just a little nervous after all the drama of last week. I'm gonna push a little bit harder. Are you sure there isn't anything that you're hiding? It's okay to tell us. We're defense attorneys. That means we help people get away with criminal acts. Right, and... Wait, what? No, that's not an accurate job description, Sparrowson. It isn't? Oh. What do we do then? I'll tell you later. Honestly, messieurs, I have nothing to hide. Was there something else you wanted to ask? No further questions. Thank you, mademoiselle. You've been a huge help. It's no problem, messieurs. Actually, there is something. I know you two saw me stealing as you came in. I appreciate that you didn't give me the third degree about it. You see, I'm trying to save up to follow my dreams and... Well, never mind. I'm rambling. It's no problem, mademoiselle. To be honest, we have a much larger crime to worry about. Although I should probably ask, I don't suppose you've been stealing anything else? Silverware, perhaps? Ah, you know about that? Yeah, I suppose that was me. It started with a couple of teaspoons. I didn't think the Baron would miss those. But, well, yeah, I suppose the habit got a little away from me. That's one mystery solved, at least. Alright. I would appreciate it if you didn't tell the Baron. He's been really kind, and I would hate to break his trust. I see. So where to next, Big Bird? We'll go back to the main hall. Did you messieurs have a good look around? I trust everything was in order. We had a good look. Thank you, Baron. But we actually have some questions for you. Please, ask away. I have nothing to hide. We'll ask about the housemaid first. We met your housemaid, Colleen Duat. She's a courteous young lady, isn't she? Yes, she was more than willing to help us with our investigation. I'm glad to hear it. Did you two want to ask something else? Yeah, I don't particularly feel like dragging her into all of this. Baron Rogwile, I would like to ask about your activities on the night of the murder. Oh ho, am I in trouble? No, nothing like that. We're just gathering the full picture. I see. Well, let me think. The guests arrived at 5 o'clock, and we all sat down for dinner in this very hall at 6. That part went magnificently. The photographer arrived at 7 o'clock, but it wasn't until 7:30 that we had our picture taken. My housemaid discovered the crime scene soon after that. I see. Is there something else I can help you, messieurs, with? I think that will be all, Baron. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure. Have a delightful day, messieurs. Did you get all the information you needed, Falcon? I hope so. Sorry, need a drink. Doing a lot of talking. Do a lot of talking at my job, too. I just won't shut up today. Anyway, don't worry. If everything goes wrong in the trial, we can always just wing it. Terrible. Just terrible. Let's head back to the office and get some rest. Alright, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then we'll get back to this. I want to at least get through the first trial. I'll be back. Alright. Studio de Rubinho. So this is the studio of the famous photographer. Shall we knock? Wait, there's a note on the door. The magnificent and marvelous artist, Monsieur Robitio de Rubinho, is currently out on an artistic expedition. He shall return when his muse sees fit. When his muse sees fit? What does that even mean? I think it means that he's a pretentious bird brain, but in any case, the artist seems to be out. What should we do now? We're gonna knock anyway. We should knock anyway. Alright, I don't see the harm. Nope, it doesn't look like he's in, Falcon. I mean, we should break in. What? Are you serious? Maybe. Monsieur J.J. Falcon, I would have thought that a man of justice like yourself would be against such reckless displays of unlawful barbarism. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over. It's a brilliant suggestion. Stand back. I'm barging the door down. Wait, just like that? Shouldn't we discuss this first? What in bird Jesus' name was that? Well, you said you wanted to break in. I thought we could find an open window. I didn't think you would turn into a bird-sized cannonball. Well, now we're here. We ought to make the most of it. This place is quite something. It's very swanky. I was going to say ostentatious. That's just swanky talk for swanky. We don't have time for this. The sound of a door being smashed in could be drawing unwanted attention. We should find anything that may help our case and get out. Okay. We'll start over here. I see a bourgeois tigress in profile. I see paints, inks, and dyes. I'm not sure what the clear liquid in this bottle is. I could taste test it. You could, but we don't have time for a hospital visit right now, so let's not. I see a finely dressed dandy fellow upon a horse. This appears to be a photograph of a ladder, symbolic of climbing toward success, perhaps? It looks more like a stepladder to me. Oh no, we're not getting into that old argument. For anyone not aware, there are constant conversations in the Phoenix Wright games about whether ladders are ladders or step ladders. The joke had to be made, apparently. A beautiful picture of the Paris skyline. Given the angle, this must have been taken from Notre Dame Cathedral itself. There are so many pictures to look at. A chandelier. You should get one of those for the office. I don't have the money for that sort of luxury. This is a photograph of a castle somewhere in the countryside. You know, I once had an uncle who once fell off a castle rampart while on guard duty. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Did he die? No, he got demoted. Ugh. Terrible. A butterfly, or maybe a moth. It's difficult to tell in black and white. A lighthouse? No, wait, it's a man in a top hat. Actually, if I squint and turn my head sideways, it's a black smudge, Falcon. This is a tiny photograph of what appears to be a jail cell. That reminds me, how illegal is this? You know, breaking and entering, rifling through a person's belongings. It's cool, we're lawyers. It's okay. A recently passed amendment allows for proportionate amounts of property damage in the pursuit of criminal evidence. I don't think that's correct, but your use of legal jargon makes me have faith in your credentials. It sounds like you're starting to learn the finer points of the French justice system, Sparrowson. Well, this is worrisome. This is a picture of a fence. It's a fancy photograph. It leaves the viewer defenseless. Out of all the pictures here, I would pick it as my favorite. Okay, I'm done. No more fence puns. A picture of a sailing ship on a windy day. Hey Falcon, look. What? It's just an easel. No. Look at what's on the easel. Oh well, this must be a copy of the photograph from the evening of the murder. There's no question about it. I see a housemaid, Dame Cataline, and I think that's Senor Portier, Cataline's father. So what should we do? Do we just take this? I mean, it's evidence. We've come this far. We may as well borrow it. Is there anything else we need to do here? I don't think so, but let's make a quick scan of the area just in case I missed something hilarious. Okay. I think we're done snooping. Let's get out of here before we draw further attention to ourselves. Sounds good to me. Uh-oh. Oh, mon Dieu! What happened to my door? You know what? I'm gonna flip a coin. Because I feel like either option here is gonna be funny. So I'll flip a coin. Let 1 be the first option and 2 be the second. Alright, we're telling the truth. The coin has spoken. By which I mean the coin on this app on my phone. Well, Monsieur Robinho, it's like this. You see, we are attorneys who have been hired for the purpose of... Raven! A raven did it! We saw the whole thing! What are you doing, Sparrowson? I've got this. I'm not going to jail because your conscience is acting up. Nobody's going to jail. Just take it easy. Darn ravens. They're always after our shiny objects, am I right? Yeah, that's right. Let's make a move. Trial day is approaching fast. Right, let's go. Did he not see us coming out of his apartment? Alright, well, I guess it's trial time. Are you nervous, Falcon? That bad, huh? Monsieur Falcon, Petit Sparrowson. Is there anything you need me to do? No, we've got a handle on things. Falcon was just telling me how confident he was feeling about the case. That's wonderful. I just know you two will pull through. Let's move it along, fellas. I'll be watching from inside. Do your best for me, Monsieur Falcon. We will. Are we ready? Yeah, we're ready. All right. Settle down, everyone. Settle down. Is everybody here? J.J. Falcon, present. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Rupert Rabington, present. The readiest prosecution, Your Honor. Oh, darn, that's not it. Oh gosh, where are my notes? Huh, I knew it.
Knew what?
Rupert and I went to Paris Law School together. He was in all of my classes.
Oh, was he smart?
No. He always scored the second worst marks in the class. I can only assume that he bumbled through the final exams on the luck of his 2 rabbit's feet. Unless he's improved considerably, you might already have this trial in the bag.
That's good to know. But say, Sparrowson, if Rupert scored the second lowest marks in the class, then who scored the lowest?
I choose to exercise my right to not self-incriminate. Ah, here it is. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Are the jury all present?
All present and accounted for, Your Honor. Hey, Falcon, I thought there were only 6 members of the jury for cases like this. Why do I count 8?
Oh, those 2 birds with the funny hats are assessors, the associate judges. Everything seems to be in order, so let us begin. The court is now in session for the trial of Dame Caterline de Meow. Prosecution, please call your first witness to the stand.
Oh gosh, are we there already? Okay, I choose to call the officer in charge of the murder investigation, Inspector Valerti, to the witness stand.
Inspector Valerti, please approach the stand and recite the oath. As you will, Your Honor. I swear to speak without hatred and without fear, to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Monsieur, no, Inspector, please state your, name and occupation for the record.
My name is Inspector Just Valerti. I am a servant to the law, a scourge of the gutter rats that plague this city. I have enforced the law for over 20 years, and I shall continue until I bring the infamous Viridian killer to justice. My path begins 18 years ago. Let's stick to the questions, Inspector. Of course, Your Honor.
Oh, great. I was hoping we'd have one of those bumbling, cuddly officers, but instead we're stuck with lawful goody two-shoes. I bet this guy would turn in his own mother if he saw her littering. So, Inspector, is it true that you were the lead investigator on this case?
That is correct. I was also among the first to arrive at the scene of the crime.
Then perhaps you can walk us through what you witnessed upon your arrival?
Absolutely. I need water. Just after 7:30, we were alerted and brought to the scene by the housemaid of Baron Rogwile. At the scene of the crime, we found Dame Caterline de Meow. She was standing over the corpse of Monsieur Greenway, with his blood on her paws.
Well, that sounds like an open and shut case in my humble opinion. No more questions, Your Honor. Bloodied paws? Nobody told me that detail. Keep it together, Falcon. You're about to be given the opportunity to cross-examine the witness. That's your opportunity to find flaws in the inspector's testimony. Of course, I know this. You may begin your cross-examination, Monsieur Falcon. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to work like it does in Phoenix Wright, in which case I can press on every statement to get more information. I'm going to ask about the scene of the crime. Inspector, you say you found Dame Catterline at the scene of the crime. Correct. The suspect was standing right beside the victim's body. Did you find anything out of the ordinary in the garden? Out of the ordinary? Missing garden tools, broken fences, that sort of thing? Definitely not. We combed the garden and it came up empty. Nothing but marble horse statues and properly trimmed grass. That seems pretty definitive. When you say standing right beside, would you say the two were less than 1 meter away? I would say around 3 feet. Feet? I'm not familiar with British measurements. How many feet are in a meter? Well, there are 12 inches in a foot, and 2.5 centimeters in an inch, so... Wait, I need a pen and paper. 12 inches to a foot? That's just plain silly. Monsieur Falcon, is this going anywhere? Yes, Your Honor. The metric system is going towards a unified system of measurements for the entire world. Assuming those stubborn Americans don't drop the ball, that is. I meant for the trial. Does this line of questioning have any purpose in the context of the trial? Not in any form whatsoever, Your Honor. Then stop wasting our time. No, dear. So we do get at least some degree of penalty for that. Let's ask about the corpse. I would like to ask about the corpse of Monsieur Greenway. Go on. What was Monsieur Greenway's cause of death? That was immediately obvious when I arrived on the scene. Monsieur Greenway had a gaping slash from shoulder to thigh. Blood was everywhere. I spoke with the coroner, and he was in agreement. The frog died from blood loss directly caused by the open wound. I see. I suppose there's no chance of arguing that this was an unrelated injury, huh? I do have another question. Inspector, could you describe the cut on Monsieur Greenway's corpse? Certainly. It was a single vertical slash. It was a fine and deep cut, the sort that you would expect to see from a sharpened saber or a surgeon's knife. Or a cat's claw? Certainly. Wait. You say a saber or knife could have inflicted the wound. Isn't this a line of investigation that's worth pursuing? Don't be daft, Falcon. Did you see or hear anything about a knife or a sword at the crime scene? I could pretend I did. I did. There was a sword in the main hall, wasn't there? I think the police would have noticed a thing like that. No, Monsieur Falcon, there was no sword at the crime scene. These sorts of observations are ridiculous and dangerous. Judge! I concur. Defense, please be more careful with your lines of inquiry. Yeah, I had a feeling. Inspector, you say Dame Catterline had blood on her paws. Correct. Blood clung to her fur like guilt to a convict. How much blood was there on the lady's paws, Inspector? enough for it to be clear that she had dirtied her hands on the victim's body. We noticed blood under the suspect's nails, around her fingertips, and even a little around her mouth. Her mouth? How vile. Actually, this might be a lead. Whose blood was it? Huh, what a question. It was Monsieur Greenwe's, of course. How can you be so sure?
I object. This line of questioning is absurd. There was only one murder victim that night, Falcon. The blood on Dame Catterline's paws could only have belonged to one person, Monsieur Greenwe. Judge, Falcon's trying to delay the trial by asking pointless questions.
I'm afraid the prosecution may have a point, Monsieur Falcon. Do you have any reason to suspect that the blood belonged to someone other than Monsieur Greenwe?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Actually, I have more than suspicion. I have evidence that the blood on Dame Catterline's paws had nothing to do with the murder.
This is foolish time-wasting, Falcon. If the blood on Dame Catterline's paws didn't come from the victim, then where did the blood come from?
The steak. On the evening of the murder, Dame Catterline ate a bloody rare steak. Is this true, Monsieur Ravington?
Oh, well, in a manner of speaking, I suppose steak may have been on the, menu.
Then, Inspector, would you acknowledge the possibility that the blood on the lady's paws did not belong to the victim, but to the steak? Well,
Wait, don't answer that, Inspector.
It is a possibility.
No.
Oh good, we're starting to gain back some of the points we lost. So, Inspector Valerti, is it possible that you arrested an innocent bystander simply for being a messy eater?
Now hold on just 1 minute, Falcon. You're overlooking something quite crucial. Dame Catterline is an elegant bourgeois kitten. She was no doubt brought up with a flawless etiquette and, perfect table manners. At the banquet, she would have eaten the steak with a fork in her left hand and a knife in her right, like any proper civilized animal. How could she have possibly gotten blood on her paws with such good manners?
Oh, that is a good question. Or at least it would be at any ordinary dinner banquet. But as it happened, something was missing from that particular banquet. Something that forced Dame Catterline to eat with her paws. Dame Catterline was forced to eat steak with her paws because the silverware of the household had been previously stolen.
Stolen? I don't recall any mention of that in the police report.
We weren't aware of anything missing from the Rorqual residence when we performed the initial investigation. But as it happened, Baron Rorqual approached us about this very subject last night. What is the meaning of all this? Bloody steak, misplaced silverware? Inspector, was your investigation so lax that you overlooked these basic facts in your initial report? Lax? My investigation? Judge, I assure you, I am the most thorough investigative officer on the force. Then it is amazing that the Parisian police managed to solve any crimes at all.
Heh. Oh dear.
Be on your way, Inspector. Perhaps do a little inspecting for your next case.
Before I continue, I'm gonna get some more water, because... Alright. Got some of that more water.
Fine. So be it. Messieurs, until next time. Prosecutor, I trust your next witness is ready? Yes, of course, Your Honor. I call upon, let's see, Monsieur Robitio de Rubinio, the, photographer who attended the banquet on the night of the murder.
Monsieur Robitio Rubinio, please approach the stand and recite the oath.
How does it go? I swear to speak without hatred and fear, and to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? It's a little cliché, to be perfectly honest. Could the witness please introduce himself for the court record?
As if anybody in this courtroom does not immediately recognize me.
Let me just check something. Yeah, I do have the photograph.
I am the great Monsieur Robitio Rubinio, cutting-edge photographer and visionary. I don't just take people's pictures, I capture their very essence. You may have seen my works in hit magazines, Le Branché, or... Meh. I can send you tweets if you like. What on earth is a tweet? Bird-to-bird communication. Come on, Falcon, it's the 19th century. Get with the times already.
Yes, your works are very, impressive, Monsieur Rubinio, but let's get down to business. Could you tell us your, activities were on the night of the murder?
Very well. I was hired by Baron Rorqual to capture the evening's events. I arrived at 7 in the evening. I pointed my camera and captured the beauty of the banquet in one fantastic photograph. Then I billed Baron Rorqual and left.
Like a true artist. And, with regards to the photograph itself, who did you photograph?
I thought you might ask. I brought a copy so that you could all see for yourselves.
Oh, very good. Let's take a closer look. My word, this is an exquisite picture, isn't it? So let's see, who do we have here? In the middle, we see Baron Rorqual, the lion who hosted the event. On the left, we see Senor Procureur de Miao, the father of the defendant, Dame Cataline. And finally, we see the housemaid, Colleen Duat, who I suspect may have snuck into the picture uninvited. As you can see, two people are clearly absent from the photograph. The first is the victim, Monsieur Greenway. The second is the defendant, Dame Cataline de Miao. Quite suspicious, wouldn't you agree?
Just a moment, Monsieur Rabington. This proves nothing. So the defendant and the victim were not photographed with the others. That doesn't mean that they were in the garden together at that point.
Hold your horses, Falcon. I'm not done yet.
The prosecution may continue. Behind the photograph's subject, we see a wall clock with the time set at 7:30.
Now, why is that time significant? Well, as Inspector Valerti told us earlier, that was the exact time the murder took place. Do you see, Falcon? Every suspect has an alibi at the time of the murder, save for Dame Cataline herself.
Hey, Falcon, this photograph doesn't seem right. It looks different to the one we borrowed from Rubinio's studio. I see it too. Our photograph shows Colleen Duat, Dame Cataline, and Senor Procureur. But Monsieur Rubinio's shows Baron Rorqual where Dame Cataline should be standing. If we assume that the only one photograph was taken, then this demonstrates that one of the photographs must have been edited in some way.
You should just slam that evidence down. Be like, bam, inconsistency, this whole courtroom is out of order, case closed.
I can't do that.
Well, I suppose you could be a little more delicate with your words.
No, I mean I can't do that because our evidence was illegally obtained. If I were to present it, Mr. Rubinio would ask how we acquired it, and the whole trial could derail. In a worst-case scenario, I could lose my legal license and we would be arrested for theft.
Oh, well, we don't want that.
No, we don't. I should tread lightly. Your Honor, I would like to cross-examine the witness.
Very well, the defense may proceed. It's a waste of time if you ask me. Photographs are rock-solid evidence.
Monsieur Rubinio, you say that you arrived at 7 o'clock.
Give or take a couple of minutes, yes. How long did it take to set up your camera? It took perhaps 25 minutes to find a shooting location, put together the camera, and ready the film. So you arrived at 7. Pardon. Boop. 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 That leaves 5 minutes unaccounted for. Falcon, surely you aren't suggesting that Monsieur Rubinio did something nefarious in this small window of time? Not at all. I'm just trying to piece together the evening's events. I spent a little time talking with Baron Rogwile when I arrived. That's probably where the rest of the time went. I don't currently have another question. I would like to ask about the camera itself. Go on. How exactly does the camera work? I'm afraid that is a patented trade secret. Oh, but it is a mechanical device, yes? You point it at something and it clicks and whirs and out shoots a photograph? That's quite a crass explanation. It is true that I point and click the camera, but that only creates a negative, a prototype of sorts. I then have to develop the photograph, and that takes time. How much time exactly? Around 4 days. This photograph is hot off the press, if you will. I suppose that does explain why the Baron hasn't received his photograph yet. I don't have another question at the moment. Let's take a closer look at this photograph. Just to clarify, Monsieur Rubinio, photographs are a direct reflection of reality, are they not? That is correct. The photographic process leaves no room for bias or inaccuracies. That is most curious, because I see a mistake. A mistake? Impossible! I just told you, Monsieur, the camera is perfect. It's a perfect, unbiased device. The photographs it produces are flawless. Falcon, I'm not seeing any mistakes. Perhaps you could be more specific. Certainly. The clock in this photograph. There's something not right about it. Well, isn't that convenient? The defense sees something wrong with the key piece of evidence that implicates his client. Don't give me that cocky tone, Monsieur Rabington. I have evidence that there's something wrong with the clock in that picture. The photograph clearly shows the clock's hands pointing at 7 and 6. That much is self-evident. Which is most curious because the clock in the lounge of Chateau Criniere has no hands. It has no hands? The clock is merely a decorative piece, a talking item. Feel free to ask Baron Rogwiler's housemaid if you have doubts. Monsieur Rubinio, how do you explain this discrepancy? I don't know. There must be some sort of mistake. My camera is flawless. There's no mistake, Monsieur. Your photograph depicts something that does not exist in the real world. Maybe there was an error in the printing process. An error precisely where the clock's hands should be? Please, Monsieur, don't patronize us. Allow me to offer a more plausible explanation. You, Monsieur Rubinio, edited this photograph. Edited? I'm no expert, but I suspect that you used paint or ink to carefully put hands upon the clock. It would have been a simple task, considering that the clock face was bare. One could even speculate that you chose to include a handless clock in the photograph specifically for this purpose. Falcon, your reasoning is absurd. Why would the witness do such a thing? Is it not obvious? By showing the photograph to have taken place at precisely 7:30, it clears all the photograph's subjects of suspicion. In other words, Monsieur Rubinio crafted a perfect alibi. Of course, this raises further questions. Who is the witness protecting? And why? What, was Monsieur Rubinio coerced?
Bribed? Threatened? Enough silence. Let's hear some answers, Monsieur Robinho.
Fine, you've got me. I'm guilty. I did it all.
You did it? You're confessing to the murder of Monsieur Greenway?
What? No. I have no idea who killed the frog. I'm just admitting that I'm guilty of producing fraudulent photographs. I was ordered to make changes to the printed photographs. And yes, that included adding hands to the clock.
You were ordered? By whom?
I dare not say.
Monsieur Robinho, I strongly advise you to answer the defense's questions. You have pledged to speak without fear, after all.
With respect, Judge, I fear his claws more than I fear the punishment of the justice system. I shall name no names.
His claws? Did you hear that, Falcon?
That is most unfortunate. Monsieur Robinho, we cannot and shall not torture names out of you. We don't live under the ancient regime, after all. But since you have admitted to falsifying evidence, then we cannot keep you on the stand as a witness. Take your leave. You shall be charged with perjury in due course. I can't protest. That is the least I deserve for my failure as an artist.
Good day, messieurs.
So the clock's hands were painted on. So what? It doesn't matter. The photograph still depicts Dame Cataline as absent close to the time of the murder. That's significant. Don't be dense, Monsieur Ravington. If the photograph is not completely genuine, then it cannot be considered reliable evidence. Why not? It's still a portrayal of the night's events. Because if we accept that one part of the picture was edited, then we must accept the possibility that other parts were too. It is possible that Dame Cataline was painted out. Even worse, it is possible that another person was painted in. We know that the witness was trying to cover for someone, so all possibilities must be accounted for. So what are you saying, Falcon? That the housemaid paid off the photographer? Or was it Signor Perchoir de Miao, perhaps? I don't think so. The housemaid lacks a means or motive, and it wouldn't make sense for Signor Perchoir to implicate his own daughter. Well, surely you're not suggesting that the honest and beloved Baron Rorgwile deliberately tried to frame Dame Cataline? Because that would be the most outlandish theory yet. The Baron is a pillar of our community. He would never do such a thing. Monsieur Ravington, I'm not here to throw accusations. That's the job of you, the prosecutor. However, mayhaps I should offer my opinion. But Baron, it's not time for your witness testimony yet. So you would think, prosecutor, and yet I see my good reputation getting tarnished by your incompetence. Incompetence? Indeed. Let us proceed with witness questioning. Is that fine with you, Judge? Yes, I suppose that's fine. Very good. And I trust that the defense has no objections? No. No objections here. Fantastic. Oh, before I forget, I pledge to speak without fear and prejudice, etc., etc. Now, prosecutor, ask me about what I witnessed over the course of the evening. Oh, okay. Baron Rorgwile, on the night of the initial dinner went magnificently. When the photographer arrived, Monsieur Greenway left to visit the garden. Dame Cataline followed behind him moments later. Signor Perchoir, Monsieur Robinho, and myself were engaged in conversation, so we paid her no mind. After the photographer had left, my housemaid left to go find Monsieur Greenway and Dame Cataline. That would be when I heard her cry for help. Thank you, Baron. I think we all know the story from there. I would like to cross-examine the witness. Do you doubt my integrity, Garçon? I'm just here to uncover the truth, Baron. Very well, then. Hit me with your best shot. Let us establish with absolute certainty that I, Baron Rorgwile, am an honest man. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Let's see. Let's start with dinner. Baron Rorgwile, I would like to ask about the dinner you served that evening. Very well. Ask away. I really want to ask about the red herring, but it's like blatantly obvious. Earlier today, we established that silverware was stolen from your residence prior to the banquet. Indeed. I am aware of whom the culprit is, but I have decided not to press charges. It is curious, then, that you decided to serve steak. It isn't what one would describe as finger food, after all. I don't know about that, Falcon. With the right attitude, all food can be finger food. There is nothing curious about it. Senor Pertois and Dame Cataline are vocal lovers of rare steak. I was merely suiting their needs. Besides, what other choice did the Baron have, Falcon? Serve vegetable broth like a, common peasant? Do be quiet, prosecutor. You sound ridiculous. Sorry, Baron. I mean, I'd like to ask about the red herring, but that wouldn't gain me any points. Baron Wargwile, I have some questions about Monsieur Greenway. God rest his soul. What was your relation to Monsieur Greenway prior to his demise? We were business partners. Monsieur Greenway, Senor Pertois de Miao, and myself all owned a third share in an up-and-coming railway company. Excuse the crassness of this question, but that means that you and Senor Pertois would now own half the company each, correct? Correct. I suppose that's a slight glimmer of benefit that arose from this foul situation. But Monsieur, you must understand that Monsieur Greenway and I were friends as much as we were business associates. I mourned the man's passing. Of course. Baron, we saw the murder scene, your garden, for ourselves. Baron Wargwile, when was the last time you ventured into your own garden? As it happens, I have quite serious allergies. I haven't been in my own garden for years. Years, you say? Indeed. Baron, I do not wish to call you a liar, but that claim does not hold up to scrutiny. Oh? And why is that? Because we have hard evidence that you visited the garden recently. Balderdash, my word is gold. Show the court this so-called hard evidence that I've been in my garden. This was found in your garden. To be specific, it was found inside the fountain basin. Right beside where the murder occurred. A cigar butt? That could belong to anybody, and, Prosecutor, please shut your mouth. I can speak for myself. Okay, sorry, Baron. That is indeed the remnants of one of my cigars, but I must apologize, Monsieur Falcon, for I misunderstood your initial question. You see, prior to the banquet, I hadn't visited my own garden in years. But naturally, after hearing the housemaid's cry for help on the evening of the murder, I rushed outside. I was shocked and disgusted by what I saw. That must have been when I dropped my half-smoked cigar in the fountain basin. You see, Falcon, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. I would find that believable if the cigar were casually discarded. But as it happened, the cigar butt was found in the fountain's upper basin, a location that could only be accessed with great inconvenience. And a little paddling. The cigar butt was not dropped, it was deliberately hidden. There are any number of possible explanations. Are there? Because I can only think of one. That is that you, Baron Wargwile, deliberately hid your cigar butt to disguise your own illicit activities. Did I now? And what illicit activities would those be? You want me to spell it out? Fine. Let's put everything on the table. You, Baron Wargwile, murdered Monsieur Greenway. That is what you were trying to keep hidden. Directly accusing me of murder. How shamelessly brazen. That is a ludicrous accusation, Falcon. The Baron is an upstanding citizen of the highest order. Your allegation is baseless. You have no evidence. No, means, motive, or opportunity. No evidence? Think harder, Monsieur Rabbington. Every piece of evidence points to Baron Wargwile as the prime suspect. You want the means? The Baron certainly had the means. His lion's claws are as sharp as a surgeon's blade. Gutting a frog belly would be trivial to him. Even Monsieur Rubinio confessed just moments ago that he feared his claws. Ridiculous. I would never threaten a man with violence. You want a motive? The Baron had at least 10,000 francs worth of motive. By removing a business partner, the Baron's share of his railway company increased from 1/3 to 1/2. This is preposterous. And finally, the Baron had an opportunity. No, he crafted the perfect opportunity. He arranged a small banquet with a very select number of guests. He was aware of the missing silverware, and yet he served steak, a food item that necessitates good cutlery. Why? To bloody the hands of his guests, of course. Then he hired an easily influenced photographer and staged a very specific picture in order to build a perfect alibi for himself. But photographing the guests in front of a handless clock to make for easy editing is quite an ingenious plan, it must be said. Prosecutor, are you just going to let this slanderous yarn go uncontested? Say something. Object. Oh, you're pitifully useless. After executing the murder, the Baron found himself still holding a single piece of incriminatory evidence, his finished cigar. He knew that leaving it at the crime scene would raise suspicion, but he didn't have time to properly dispose of it. So out of desperation, he threw it into his fountain, out of the sight of his guests and any snooping police. I imagine the Baron was hoping to implicate Signor Portoir de Miao, since that would ensure total control over his railway company. Alas, Dame Catiline was the first to happen upon the crime scene, so the Baron improvised. This is an outrage. Judge, I demand that you disbar this ranting lunatic. No, there is only one outrage here. That is, that a man like yourself is able to abuse his wealth and status to frame an innocent girl for murder. You're a bourgeois of the worst kind. How dare you, garçon? The utter nerve for a lying scumbag of a lawyer to accuse a philanthropist like myself of something so heinous. I'm nothing like the fat cat bourgeois. I'm a respectable, hard-working capitalist. No, you're a ruthless man who would slaughter a dear friend just to reap a few francs. You incredulous whelp, I ought to gut you right here and now, like a darned frog. Could someone please restrain the Baron? I'm on it, Your Honor. Let's go, old man. To the concierge with you. Don't touch me, you filthy jackdaw. I can walk myself. This is quite a turn of events. Does the prosecution have anything to add? Well, in a manner of speaking, well, to be honest, no. Then I shall now confer with the members of the jury to come to a decision. I ask that all the animals of the court please be patient in this time. Falcon, that was pretty incredible. Thank you. I just hope it was enough. What do you mean? You just proved Cataline's innocence. We'll get a not guilty verdict for sure. Sparrowson, I think you've misunderstood something important about the justice system. What's that? I haven't proved anything. As lawyers, we cannot deal in proofs. It's just not possible. All we can do is organize the evidence and convincingly explain what it suggests. I haven't proved Dame Cataline's innocence. All I have done is demonstrate that there is a significant possibility that she is not guilty. I'm not sure that I understand the difference. We have reached a decision. In light of recent revelations, it is clear that an error of judgment was made with the initial arrest. On that note, we unanimously find the defendant, Dame Catiline de Miao, to be not guilty. Monsieur Falcon, Petite Sparrowson, you did it! Yeah, I suppose we did, didn't we? We should head back to the office so we can celebrate properly. You did it, Falcon! I can't take all the credit. This was a group achievement. I'm so proud of you both. I'll go get 1 bottle of wine and 3 of our least dirty glasses. You were amazing, Monsieur Falcon. Oh, it was nothing. I very much liked the way you pinned the murder on the Baron. That was an act of sheer genius. Well, I didn't pin anything. Sparrowson and I just worked at unveiling the truth, given the facts of the case. Monsieur Falcon, there is no need to play coy. The case is over. play coy. Don't tell me you're actually being sincere. I'm completely lost. Oh wow, I thought the goody-goody thing was an act, but you actually don't know. Alright, I'll spell it out for you. I murdered Monsieur Greenway. I saw him in the garden, all drunk and vulnerable, and I seized my opportunity. It was nothing personal, just business, you understand? Business? To increase my papa's share in the train company, of course. My papa always said that the drunk old frog was the weakest link. Your confession doesn't make any sense at all. I found Baron Rogwell's cigar butt hidden in the garden. Oh, I put that there. I expected the police to find it, but I suppose that was putting too much faith in the brains of Paris's finest. But Falcon proved that Monsieur Rubinio's photograph was edited. It was edited. I wasn't in the picture because I was busy paying a visit to Monsieur Greenway in the garden. My papa knew I needed an alibi, so he ordered Monsieur Rubinio to paint me over Baron Rogwell, and to add hands to the clock. But that lazy artist didn't manage to finish altering either photograph by trial day. It's a good thing that Monsieur Falcon was so imaginative, because that could have gone very badly. What's with the silence? You should both be proud. There aren't many lawyers in the whole of France who could have won a case like this, even for a bourgeois kitty like me. I think you should leave. Fine. So much for the celebrations. Here's the payment for your services, straight from my papa's pockets. Well, adieu, Monsieur Falcon. Adieu, Petite Sparrowson. Falcon, what do we do now? Falcon? Alright. That's the end of Act 1, and what an ending it was. I actually appreciate that it took a different sort of twist than most Phoenix Wright style cases would. Anyway, that's gonna be it for tonight because it is late. I will be streaming Gaiden tomorrow, and then we'll be back to the normal schedule next week. Javen and I will be playing something on Tuesday, I'll be playing something else on Wednesday, and then more Gaiden. Till then, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good night. Bye, everyone.